Hello one, hello all, it's the most praiseful ghost of them all, Casper in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Westside Gunn-12. This is the brand new LP from Buffalo rapper, curator, and label head of GRISELDA Records. And this is also the 12th installment of the HWH series that's been going on for a very long time now, a very continuous process, a very continuous series, dropping a bunch of decent albums within that series and catalog. And the one that absolutely won me over was Side B, which I did not formally review, but best believe I did enjoy that and still enjoy that to this day. And to add context here, 10 was supposed to be his last album ever. That was supposed to be it. But he's released more projects after that. And honestly, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he's still continuing this series because honestly, I think Westside really does get better. Granted, I've never really been a huge fan with the exception of Side B. But that's not to say I don't think he's dropped anything terrible within the series or as of late. I honestly think he's dropped like good records from there on out. So I'm happy to see that he's still going. And in terms of surprises, as in guest features, he doesn't really bring on any like big names or anything like that. He kind of keeps it pretty local. And that's not to say he doesn't bring any new voices to the table. He does, such as STNAC, and also brings along Stove God Cooks, who is definitely featured a lot on this track. Honestly, this album comes off very much as a collaborative effort as opposed to a solo effort, because Stove God, STNAC, they're almost on every track here. Like, it's very reminiscent to me of kind of what Ghostface did back in the day with Iron Man. And he starts things off with a very ghostly vintage intro with a doo-wop sample. And I will say this though, I do wish this was a fully fleshed out track because it's a really great sample and this thing could have just been easily annihilated by these three, but I guess it's a good tone setter for the start of the record. But after that, we get BOSWELL, which is a super grimy, grim track featuring STNAC. Very steady paced beat, which it really isn't too far off for GRISELDA or Westside, but that doesn't mean they did not kill it here. Because God, the production is so grimy and dirty, and the bars here are just so villainous. They're so cold-blooded. They're heartless. Especially from STNAC with a lot of coke bars, a lot of gun bars. Like, ain't no attitude, I'd be very chill, but still throw your baby mama off the Ferris wheel. Followed by some great wrestling references from Westside Gunn. Took a sniff, ripped his shirt like Hogan. 6-inch popped a 3, he was poked up. Blew a kiss at the CEO like I'm gold dust. And also Stove God kills it, not only with his charisma, but with his wit within the bars. Like, mama told me not to touch the stove, she was right. And the instrumental sounds like something straight out of an old school crime drama. It definitely works with its shot of dramatic horns, eerie keys. I mean, I believe they're piano keys. So yeah, this thing kicks off really well, very grimy, nice boom bap beat. The way the production is set up and the way the bars are, they definitely do remind me of something like a Wu-Tang Mad Villainy hybrid. And I love the dreamy psych outro at the end. So that's great. That's hard hitting. Nice start. And following that, we have Adam Page, which I do think flows well sequentially with its predecessor, but I do think the track ends a little bit too prematurely. But God, the following cut, VEERT, the drumless production, the intoxicating keys that has these warped psychedelic chords that lead into this very pitched down hook from Westside. It very much reminds me of Tupac from the Strictly era, which honestly shows how cut from a different cloth Westside is, how different this man is, how much of his own lane he is, because who else is putting out tracks like this? And also to show how unique he is, this really does show, even pitched down, you could still tell it's Westside, like how iconic his voice really is. And the instrumental sounds like something out of like a mafioso crime drama. Not only that, but this also sounds like something that Ghostface Killah and Raekwon, when they put out Only Built for Cuban Links, this really does like remind me of like something they would talk to on the intro, and now Westside is coming back and like rapping on it. But man, the ominous chords, the slight touch of manipulation with the effects, like this thing really does sound like the equivalent of a fever dream that a mob boss would have in like his dying hour, knowing that he's just staring down the barrel of like 5 guns just pointing at him, and this is the last thing he sees, this is the last thing he hears. I also want to say too how I feel subconsciously they really are bringing back the mafioso genre with this record. And I must say, Stove God really does cook on this one. Whoa, you suck! Anyway, I think Stove God really does improve like project to project. And with his humor, his personality, his wit, like this guy really could hold his own on a new record that I'm actually looking forward to. And I feel Stove God is really proving that on this record. Especially like how he just takes the wheel here with his cockiness and like his endless flow. It's just amazing. It's stellar. It's fantastic. Then we got a sonic change-up on 0055. And I'm just enamored with this one, production-wise, hook-wise. With its absolutely gorgeous, manipulated, soaring gospel vocals. They sound so soulful over these stellar church organs. Like the heart they put into this, the passion they put into this really does come off as like a Kingpin's like church sermon in a way, like a church service. And the hook is just so catchy. It will live rent-free in my mind for like a month or two, trust me. Praise Fly, praise Stove, praise Hope. And with how soulful and elevating and ascending this sounds, like in the soulfulness of this and the vintageness of this, it really does remind me of like Jay-Z's Song Cry off his Blueprint album. That has a very braggadocious verse from Westside and a very triumphant verse from Stove God. And in terms of delivery, they really do kill it. Like performance-wise, they nail it. And as odd as this is gonna sound, even though there's like a dichotomy between subject matter within the verses, they're staying focused sonically. They're staying focused in terms of emotion, and I think that really should be noticed. Because I feel these vocal deliveries really do complement the track thematically. And I feel this aesthetically continues on Health Science, which has a very warm vintage bass. The production is very dreamy, very cloudy. But unfortunately though, the record does have its shortcomings, mostly with how Stove God does not bring the best performance vocally on Gumbo, where he tries to hit like this high note, but it just does not go well. It really sounds like Pharrell on a bad day, and I'm not even that big of a fan of Pharrell as a singer, but this really does come off as like a Pharrell throwaway vocal feature. Like it just sounds so strained and leaves a lot to be desired. And the sax lines sound very faint, very buried in the mix. So yeah, this track sounds like a mess, and honestly, a lesser version of what Jay-Z was doing on American Gangster. And the next few tracks I feel falter as well, as STNAC tries his hand at singing and doesn't go well at all. It sounds like he has really bad stomach problems. Oh, which is a shame because I really do like the woozy production here. The only problem is not only do we get these really bad vocals, but also the track pretty much meanders into nothing, which unfortunately carries on to Bury Me With a Stove. Thankfully though, the last few tracks are highlights for me. I love the blaring lo-fi horn melodies. They sound very regal, they sound very royal, with some very personal, compelling bars from Westside about his older brother who he lost tragically, Sheen Gunn, sharing experiences in prison, crime stories, his grievances with current rappers, and the way he just emotes and is so intense with the beautiful, somber production. It's just awe-inspiring. We also have the spiritually enchanting closer that has these vintage, beautiful piano licks surrounding by these gorgeous, ascending choral vocals that are very heavenly, and also has a very aggressive, impassioned verse from Stove God, and an even more powerful hook that really bolsters the gospel realm of this LP, along with a very stellar, mournful verse from Westside, as he reminisces on the struggles of losing his mother, selling drugs to survive, sharing his current triumphs, And yes, this album does have a lot of gun bars, a lot of coke bars, but there's something passionate about this. There's something very telling about this. This is honestly the most vulnerable I've probably heard Westside or Stove God on this record before, and really opening up, honestly. Like, I feel they're getting more and more personal with very heartful lyrics, very heartening lyrics. And a lot of sonic elements here that I haven't really heard from them before, which I enjoy. So overall, I enjoyed this installment of HWH. Like, is it a favorite of mine of this series? No, but I can honestly say it's a very decent one, and definitely one, if you're a Westside Gunn fan, you should not miss. Because the heart, the passion, the highlights, they're here. The enchanting moments, they're here. The bars, they're here. Production's here. Just wish it was a little more consistent in quality, that's all. I'm feeling a 3.5 out of 5 on this record. If you've given this a listen, what did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Westside Gunn, 12. Till we meet again.